Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are getting ready for the release of Tron Ares, the third movie in the Tron series, by taking a look back at Tron and Tron Legacy. I My experience with the movies before this week, I had seen Tron when I was a small child in the 80s and did not really understand it and really did not remember it. And then I never saw Tron Legacy until this week.
Gotcha. So my experience with Tron is kind of the opposite, where I grew up with Tron. I love Tron. I saw Legacy when it came out. I have played the Tron 2.0 on PC. Um, I I own Tron Uprising, the Disney XD show that came out a little after Legacy came out. So myself, I am heavily in the Tron series. Probably it's not a Star Wars or DC level, but I'd say I'm probably as heavily in the Tron series as I am in James Cameron's Avatar.
So the way we usually do these movie reviews is we will do a quick discussion of the plots of the movies, non-spoilery, and give our review scores, and then we'll have an in-depth spoilery discussion.
hmm
So the first Tron movie came out in the 80s. Is one of the first movies to really use computer generated images.
to
It
the point where it was disqualified from Best Visual Effects from the Academy because it was considered cheating at the time.
Yeah. And this is kind of during Disney's dark experimental period where they were doing stuff like Black Cauldron and Something Wicked This Way Comes and all kinds of these little weird movies. So, um, let's see. So Tron is about a computer programmer that was fired. The company stole his ideas, and so he is trying to hack back into the system. He gets zapped and ends up inside the computer system, and he's assisted by a program named Tron to try to overthrow the evil system that it's trying to conquer the world.
Yes, that I think that
Basically.
is that is the simplest you could bear down to this film. This film is very complicated.
And then Tron Legacy, the hacker from the first movie has vanished, and his son is trying to figure out what happened and is lured back to the world of Tron. Somewhat.
Yeah.
That's very simplified.
Yeah.
Uh, so my review for these two movies, and I think today might be an interesting show. Tron, I give like a 9 out of 10. It deserves to be a sci-fi classic. It's iconic. I really enjoyed it. Tron Legacy, the more I thought about it, the more the movie didn't sit well with me. I'm sitting at about a 6 right now out of 10.
Okay.
Uh, I didn't hate it while I was watching it, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this movie is just doesn't work. So we will talk about it. So Caleb, you have said you're a big fan of Tron. So what are your scores?
So myself, so I have to take Tron in an interesting way. The first one, because I love it, but I have also shown Tron to people recently, the original, and that's what showed me that this movie is very complicated and very hard to follow. Um, and so I
You,
myself,
I
what's
just
that?
want to say you kind of have to understand how computers work to
Yeah,
understand the movie,
yeah,
and the visuals. You also have to understand this is like what 1980 or 1981 or 1982, somewhere around there where
yeah,
this came out,
yeah.
and so it was kind of like a high budget episode of Reboot. The animation was.
hmm
That's the way I kind of saw it.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of understand when this came out. You're
hmm
not gonna get like modern special effects and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
but I think it's cool because they filmed it in black and white and they touched up the shots with lighting and stuff. And
Hmm. Oh,
uh,
the behind the scenes documentaries of this film are fascinating.
yeah.
Um, so with all that being said, I I'm gonna meet in the middle because I know how I feel about it, but I also know how hard this movie is to get into. So if I meet in the middle with both of those ideas, I'd probably give this about an 8 or an 8.5.
Hmm.
And then Tron Legacy, me personally,
Yeah.
I think it's better than the first one.
Okay.
So for me, we're looking at an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay.
Um, that's gonna be for me then. Um, and then I think there is a part of that that's one of those things that I think um, it's almost like Star Wars where uh, things get better the more you and it's one of the uh, it's one of those things that it's hard to get away from where uh, a movie gets better because of supplemental material, you know.
Hmm.
And so that's one thing to keep in mind whenever I give my opinion on Legacy.
Yeah, and Tempting Frog brings up a good point about the Tron arcade game was hugely popular
Hmm. Yep.
when this came out and was a big, big deal.
Oh man, so I am I am the CLS worker on the weekends for my cousin. Um, he has autism, and so I take him out and we adventure throughout Louisville, or sometimes we'll come home. I showed him Tron. We got this place in Louisville called Rec Bar, and they have a Tron arcade game. And I don't know if they've set this up on purpose, but we found out that a single token gives you um, a single token. The way they got it set up gives you 9 plays. So whenever I say 9 plays, a play is 3 lives. um, so a single token, we spent about 2 hours with just a couple tokens just on Tron. So whenever it comes to the game, man, like me and him, we're well versed in that game.
I have a question for.
Yes.
I often question why Disney does things and doesn't do other things.
Okay.
I know they have a Tron ride at one of the Disney Worlds or
Mhm.
Disneyland or whatever.
Yep.
Why do they not have the entrance as Flynn's Arcade? Wouldn't that be really cool?
It would. It definitely would.
Or there's just not a Flynn's Arcade just in Disney World or something. It makes no sense. Like that,
you want
it's such a cool landmark image, and
you
I just don't get it.
You want to hear something messed up? Because so the reason I show my cousin this is because he's ridden that ride and I haven't. Um, and the thing is I've been to Disney World since that ride came out. But the thing is you would think it's in Hollywood Studios, which is where we went because of Galaxy's Edge. It's
Mhm.
not in Hollywood Studios. It's in Magic Kingdom for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was one of those things where he was telling me about the ride, and I'm like, you know what? You don't deserve to ride this. You don't deserve the experience to ride this ride unless you've seen this movie. So come on, we're gonna watch it.
Okay, so they do have a replica of the arcade under the ride. Okay,
Okay, gotcha,
all
gotcha.
right.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's like Galaxy's Edge. I'll make an entire trip like for Galaxy's Edge because that's kind of its own park. Um, I'm gonna have to come up with more reasons than just the Tron ride to go to Magic Kingdom. So I'd love to ride it. I just have to find more reason than a single ride to go to Magic Kingdom.
All right, so we got limited time today, so let's get into the spoilers. And
Yes, sir.
uh, so let's talk about Tron,
Hmm.
and let's talk about the cast. Uh, so I'll start with Dillinger, who's played by David Warner. I love David
Yep.
Warner. Anything he's in, he is amazing. He's kind of a quintessential '80s villain for me. He's just awesome,
Yep.
Shakespearean villain actor. Uh, so that's awesome. I love Dillinger, and I like
He's
the. Yeah, go ahead.
I was I mean he's great, and um I I love so another thing to keep in mind is the reason why we've never we the reason why it has taken so long to get a third Tron movie is because for the longest time Tron was kind of Disney's Star Wars, and then they got Star Wars, right?
Hmm.
And so the relationship between Dillinger and the MCP, I've always really liked as kind of like a not really a Vader emperor, but like Vader and one of the underlings, you know.
Hmm.
And then obviously Dillinger's one of the underlings.
Yeah, I really like the Master Control program. His look is cool too. It reminds me of the bad guy from K-pop Demon Hunters, the demon.
Kima, yeah.
Yeah, very similar
Very
look.
similar. Yeah.
Um, all right, so then we've got Bruce Boxleitner, who plays Tron,
Hmm.
and Tron is not the main character, but he's very important, and we'll talk about that when we get to Tron
Hmm.
Legacy. But uh, yeah, I think he's a really fun character.
He also Boxleitner also plays Alan Bradley, who is kind of the best friend character in the real world. What you'll notice is characters. Uh, Pretty much every main character has dual roles in this movie.
Yeah, they have
Uh,
counterparts. Yeah.
because Alan Bradley is the creator of the Tron program, which is kind of like a security program that, like, snuffs out viruses and whatnot. And then Boxleitner, when you get into the grid, plays Tron as well.
Yep. Then we have Cindy Morgan, who I just want to say, why is she not in the sequel? I, I know this is gonna sound horribly sexist, but I know a lot of actresses don't return for movies like this 30 years later because of the aging and stuff. But she still looked great, and she was still active acting. I don't know why, and I think I read somewhere that the writers didn't even consider it, and I'm like, why? What are you doing?
So funny enough, I have an answer to this once we get to Legacy. There actually is an answer for this.
Okay. Uh, Cindy Morgan, you may also know her as the babe from Caddyshack. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
um,
and in this one, she's the babe from the grid. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Uh,
no, you know what I think is so funny is like her dual roles are like this very modest, homely computer programmer with really thick Coke bottle glasses. Um, and then in the grid, uh, just the tightest skin tight jumpsuit.
right.
um,
I
I mean,
miss the 80s.
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Not Another Teen Movie, where they're like, "What? She has glasses. I can never make her." Because like you take off glasses and then she's just immediately hot.
Yeah. Last of our main cast is Jeff Bridges, who plays Flynn, who's our main character.
Is this? I'm not going to say that this is a huge role because at the time I don't think Tron was like a huge movie. But was this Bridges' like first like
His
kind of
first breakout role, I think, was it The Last Picture Show? I think was the one that kind of put him on the map.
uh
I mean, his dad was super famous, Lloyd Bridges,
right.
so um, and then his brother Bo, but now I'm
Yeah,
totally.
yeah, now it looks like yeah, it looks like that he had some things before
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So Flynn's a fun character, kind of a rebel. He feels like well, he doesn't feel like he knows that Dillinger stole all of his programs and stole all of his IP, and so he's trying to hack his way back in. Um,
Do you know what I think is the funniest trope that we don't do anymore because we know better? Because the big thing is he creates this video game called Space Paranoids, right?
mhm.
And then it turns out that because he's the creator, he's the best in the world at it. Uh, and we don't do that anymore because we all know that the creators kind of suck at their own
Oh yeah,
games.
Miyamoto said I can't play the games I make. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So, we get into the world of Tron, and oh, I also want to mention that what's his name, Peter Jurassic, is also in this movie, who uh, played Londo in Babylon 5. So I just want to point out
Oh
there's a little
yeah,
Babylon 5 connection in here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so there is I would consider him a main character as well. He just doesn't play a huge character in the real world, but it is Dan Shore who plays Ram in in the Grid.
Hmm.
He, I'm trying to remember. I think he's just like a nameless nobody character in the real world, but it's the same actor who plays Ram.
Yeah. And yeah, I think this movie has a lot of imagination. It's fun. It's very slow though. It is a movie from
Mhm.
1980, so modern audiences are probably going to struggle with that.
What is it? 45 minutes before we get to the Grid?
We'll talk about that. Um, so yeah, but I think it's a lot of fun. You have it's there's a little bit of the Cold War element of, oh no, we're at the evil computer's gonna start the end of the world and all that fun stuff.
But like they also give like a huge reason as to why. It essentially the master control program was something that was written by um, Flynn's mentor, Walter Gibbs, and so he's kind of the creator of the MCP. And the original intention for the MCP uh, was to like it was supposed to be like a helpful, all-encompassing company-wide system, right?
Hmm.
But then it gains like evil sentience, and then it finds out that it can go into other systems, and so it starts
Discovers the internet.
yeah, it discovers the internet, and so it starts going into like other governments' private servers and getting classified information, like to the point where it's the weirdest thing because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of the movie, that doesn't matter, you know, because the whole point of the movie is Flynn is just trying to get proof that Dillinger stole his game idea,
Yeah.
um, and they just vaguely bring up the fact that the MCP is like gonna try to start World War III.
Right. Yeah. No big deal. Uh, the other thing I think is fun is the programs that are being forced to play in the games, the arena games, or you want to
The
call them.
games, the
Uh,
games.
they're like programs like, oh, I was a real estate program. Oh, I
Yeah,
sold insurance and
yeah.
stuff. And
No, it's
I, I,
great.
I think that's a lot of fun. So yeah, so the first movie I think is a fun idea. It's very creative, and I won't say it's the most action-packed movie of all time or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it
Yeah.
was, and I also want to point out that the laser that blasts him and kind of disintegrates him and puts him into the game. It reminded me of the shrinking machine from Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It looked
Oh
very
yeah.
similar, so I don't know if that was maybe inspired by Tron or not. Um, but very
Yeah.
similar. We're gonna go into Tron Legacy now.
Well,
Very similar. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
if I may, because I would feel insincere if we didn't bring up the bad parts of the first movie, which is Man, you got to know acronyms to know this movie.
Oh yeah, there's a
I
lot of computer jargon and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things where you and I we know these acronyms no problem, um, but I mean it's not even if I'm being honest, it's not like they're using these acronyms for world building or anything like that. These are like major plot points.
Hmm.
So like I said, I'd feel insincere if we just praise the movie based on our own personal experiences, while we both know that we know more about computers than the average person, and that
Yeah,
makes it easier to watch this movie.
right, right.
It's one of those things where, like, if you're not computer savvy and you have no interest in being computer savvy, might not be the movie for you.
So I was bringing up Honey I Shrunk the Kids. One of the issues between Honey I Shrunk the Kids and Honey I Blew Up the Baby was it felt like they discovered this amazing technology, and then the world didn't use it after that. It was kind of like, okay, whatever, we got this shrinking technology, whatever. And I felt like Tron and Tron Legacy has the same issue, where it's like, we found this technology where you could, enter inside a computer world, and we're not going to share it with anybody.
Which I do think that is being touched upon in Ares. I think we're finally getting to that.
Yeah, yeah. So Tron Legacy. So stop me if you've heard this joke before. David Bowie, Steve Jobs, and Daft Punk walk into a movie, and no, that's what I. That's kind of what I felt like Tron Legacy was.
You don't have to sell it on me. I already gave it a glowing review.
um, yeah. So I'll say this: I didn't mind watching the movie. It's just when it was like I need to think about this movie. The more I thought about it, the more it just kind of didn't make sense. There, I had a lot of questions, and um, so we fast forward that Flynn has a son now. He has a wife that died. I assume that is Cindy
Yes.
Morgan's character. It's never really
Oh
said, but
no, no, it's not.
yeah, but I assume it was kind of implied that it was the character. Um, let's see. Uh, so it's now, like 20 years later, the kid has grown up. His dad's been missing for like what, 15 years or something.
Yep.
And Incom, they've basically turned into Apple. They're this
Yep.
huge conglomeration, and for whatever reason, they've rehired Dillinger's son to be on the board, which I was really confused by. I was like, okay, well, here's the villain of our movie, and then they never do anything with it. Although Tron Ares is supposedly going to have Dillinger's grandson as the villain, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on with the Dillinger thing, but I thought that was kind of strange. Um, so what's his name? Sam is the son's name.
Yep. Sam.
He breaks into the building, and he's doing all this, disable the camera stuff. There's a scene that makes no sense where he disables the stairway camera, and the guard taps on the monitor and it fixes the camera. And I'm like, why would tapping on the monitor do anything to the camera? I mean, I know it happened at the same time, like it just happened to wear off, but it was just stupid. Him tapping on the screen, I'm like, that's not going to do anything. Um, but so he hacks into the system and gives away their program, or their
Operating system.
operating system, for free, and then he jumps off the top of the building, and the guard follows him up on this railway. I don't know why the guard is out there with him on there when there's no way to escape. I don't know why the guard's out there risking his life, but whatever. It's it's a little over the top. And he parachutes and gets away. I think this is the motorcycle chase scene, if I recall, or
Yep.
maybe that was before that. I don't remember. But the cop chases him. They in the movie establishes, oh, he's good at motorcycles and getting away and stuff. And Alan from the first movie, Bruce Boxleitner, realizes it's him that hacked it, comes and sees him and says, that he received a page from his dad and from his dad's office, and that that phone number shouldn't even be active. I don't know how this happened. Maybe you should go investigate the arcade. So Sam finds his way into finds a hidden door at the arcade and ends up into the grid. So, question for you, Caleb: who paged
Yes, sir.
Alan? Who sent the page?
Clue.
Are you sure? Because
Yes.
the movie clues kind of like, oh, how'd you get here? Oh, and then Flynn's like, oh, it must have been Clue that did it. And the movie's kind of vague. They're kind of saying, oh yeah, it was, but why would it page Alan to lure Sam in there? The plan's a little convoluted for me, and
Uh,
and if you poke it too much, it doesn't make sense. So
Sam wasn't the goal.
he just wanted the door to open. Was
He
that the
wanted
goal?
he wanted Alan.
He wanted Alan. I thought it would have been cooler. This is just me nitpicking. If we know that Tron gets corrupted and turned evil, but maybe Tron was the one that sent the page because he's trying to have someone rescue him from what has happened to him. And
Sure.
who else would he contact but Alan?
Mm-hmm.
His creator. I don't know. Just a nitpick. It's kind of vague, and um, so we Sam ends up in this world where he's immediately pulled into the games, and there's this huge crowd of people, or I guess programs. I don't know who these programs are or where they came from, but they're here for the arena, and um, I knew who the bad guy was just because I remembered the trailers
Mm-hmm.
were super spoiler ones came out, and I was like, oh, I remember there's two Jeff Bridges, so one of them must be Clue. And so when I saw the guy in yellow, I was like, okay, that's Jeff. That's one of the Jeff Bridges characters. Um, and so he has to fight in the games, and he's rescued by Olivia Wilde's character, who is Cora.
Yep.
What did you think of Cora?
Well, so this is I was
Ignoring Olivia Wilde's
I
hotness.
was so I was 14 when this movie comes out. Um, I was 14 when this movie comes out, and she might be the first manic pixie dream girl that ever came into my mind. Like it honestly, it's kind of like asking me about Michaela Barnes and Transformers. I was 10 when that came out. um, um, but no, I
Hey,
mean,
I get it. Carrie Russell was in a bathing suit and Honey, I Blew Up the Baby. I remember that when I was a teenager. I remember that.
yeah. But no, I really like I actually really like her. It definitely, she is tropey, but it's a trope that I actually like. Because for all intents and purposes, she is kind of like she is young in a cosmic way, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a trope, but it's a trope that I like.
There's this alternate timeline where she didn't turn down the role of Gamora, and I wonder just how much better those Guardians movies would have been. I always feel like Gamora is the one that's most unlike her comic book character. Like they really toned her down, her anger,
Hmm.
her violence and stuff. And I just wonder if she would have played her any differently.
So I have a question. Did you watch House?
Yes.
I have a feeling she would play Gamora like she played 13.
Hmm.
That's my guess.
Hmm. So he then meets his father, who's been trapped here. He can't get out because the doorway only stays open for so long and only has so much power. And also, he has this disc that Clue wants, that if he got, he'd be able to control everything. And so
Which
he's been hiding.
which one thing that we glossed over, The day he went missing 15 years ago, he was telling the story of the grid to Sam,
Mm.
and he says, "I've got something big." Um, and that's a story for another time. He leaves, and at that point, he goes missing, and so the big thing is like, you know, everyone thinks that he just like hopped a plane, went pun intended, I guess, off the grid, and just like ran away with a young whoever to the Bahamas or something. But the big question is, why would he do that if he had something big literally the day before? If he had like a huge breakthrough.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's kind of the initial mystery. But Sam doesn't care about all that. All he cares about is my dad. Like, I should
Mm.
have been, no matter what, I should have been the most important.
Mm. Uh, we failed to mention that Clue is the program that was in the first movie that Flynn had made,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
Clue.
that is Bridges' dual character in that movie.
Yeah, and so Flynn and Clue and Tron are going to build this perfect world, the grid, and then Clue kind of takes the orders to the extreme of I'm going to build a world with no imperfections, and I'm going to get rid of all the imperfections in the real world. Also, is my
Yeah,
ultimate goal.
very much an Ultron type thing we got going on.
Yeah. So when they meet Flynn, they have a meal, which makes no sense. Why they're eating a meal when the first movie established that the water was this power, like a power, coursing through a computer, and them drinking this, and I just, I don't know. The scene just doesn't make sense when you start to think about it. It does not make any sense whatsoever.
Oh, I that tells me everything now. I think I understand what you didn't get about this movie.
What did I not understand about this movie?
This is a different grid.
Well, I understand it's a different
Yeah,
grid,
yeah.
but
So
I still think the computers would work the same.
not
But
necessarily, because like the kind of the point of making the new grid is ultimately because he wants there to be kind of a truce, a crossover between the grid and the real world. So
mhm.
like programming, not necessarily the necessity for food, but like programming food and programming that reason for like communion and community makes sense in the fact that like I would like peace between programs and humans. So like to me that makes sense to like program that aspect of it.
Okay. Agree to disagree, but we will continue. The big miracle here is they found initial stock offerings or ISOs, and this is a new life form. That's a little joke because that's the same acronym. ISOs are some new life form that I guess evolved. That has appeared. The movie wasn't super clear on where it's just something that the right settings were there for this to occur. I guess is
Hmm.
how the movie put it. And
Yep.
then Clue saw them though as a imperfection and caused a great purge and killed them all except for Cora.
Yep.
Um, so the rest of the movie. Oh, I guess I gotta bring up Zeus, or whatever his name was. Um, they Sam is trying to find a way to the portal, so Cora sends him to meet a guy that's played by Michael Sheen,
Yep.
and he is an over-the-top David Bowie type character. And I think this is where the movie started to lose me some. Where I started, I was like, okay, what am I watching? He's just over the top and flamboyant, and then Daft Punk is there doing the music with him in there, or at least that's how I took it as who the DJs were.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
that
And
actually is them in there.
yeah,
That's also what the music video is.
yeah. Um, and so he's able to get the master disc from Sam, and then Flynn shows up and he has all these powers, and then the rest of the movie is basically a race to get the disc back and get back to the portal. Um, so the other character we have not talked about much is Tron, who he's in the movie, but he's not really in it that much. He has been he fought off Clue when Clue first turned evil and was presumed dead, but he was corrupted. And what's his name? Like the Wrestler or something, or the
Rinsler. Rinsler.
Rensler. I kept thinking they were saying Winslow the whole movie. I was like Winslow. Um, but uh, so I'll get back to Tron in just a second. One of the issues I had with this movie also was I did not like the color scheme. Like I love the original color scheme, and so for them to be the heroes to be the black with the white lights and the bad guys to be the blacks with the orange, slightly reddish lights. I didn't like it. It just didn't work for me.
Sure.
And I couldn't tell Tron apart from the other bad guys. I mean, I guess there was some differences but for the most part, when he was like in a group with the other bad guys, I couldn't tell which one was Rensler or whatever. And I think it would have been cooler if he had a different design. And also, he never lowered his helmet to reveal, Alan's face or anything. So, other than you tell me it's Tron, I have no idea it's Tron. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's nothing visually to tell me. Um, and let's see what else. I think that's most of my notes until I get more into the plot discussion. Um, so yeah, like I said, I didn't hate the movie. It just, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me.
It's new, and new is bad. That's what it is. Like,
Well, I mean, it's also one of those movies. I just saw it last night. It's one of those movies I need to think about for a while.
Mhm.
It's still very fresh in my brain. Um, all right. So let me. What were you gonna say before I get into my next discussion?
Oh, so I guess I can do a little bit of background.
Uh
I
huh.
assume like so your next uh we're talking about like plot and whatnot, right?
Hmm.
Um, so one thing that I may encourage, there is the on I think it's on Disney Plus as well. Tron Uprising
Yes, it
is
is on Disney Plus.
okay. It stars Elijah Wood
Hmm.
uh, as Beck, and it kind of is one of those things that's like you know how the Siege of Mandalore like leads right into Revenge of the Sith.
Hmm.
It's no, it's not like that. It's kind of like the Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
Hmm.
It's like that where Uprising kind of leads straight into um, into Legacy, and it's kind of about um, Tron's Clue's corruption and Tron's like he mentors this young program Beck, but obviously it would end with Tron uh, getting corrupted as well. Another thing, so Laurie uh, is not Sam's mother. Uh, in Tron, Alan and Laurie are together. They actually have a son named Jet. And the interesting thing about Tron Legacy is the game Tron 2.0. Uh, Tron Legacy is kind of based on it. So it's almost like a split timeline, and it's not a split timeline thing. It's more just like Tron 2.0 is a non-canon game, uh, but uh, it's about Tron 2.0 is about Alan being trapped in the grid, and his son Jet gets taken in the game and has to free him. So they kind of get the plot from the game, but of course they switch out Alan for Flynn and Sam instead of Jet. There was actually an ARG called Flynn Lives that kind of details uh, Sam's mom and how she ended up dying very young. So he basically never knew uh, his uh, his mom. So, like I said, it's one of those things where uh, 2010 to probably 2015 was an interesting time where there was so much supplemental information for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like Avatar kind of had this. Prometheus heavily had supplemental information. Uh, so I def talking about Tron Legacy, I definitely wanted to bring up 2.0 because I find that fascinating. And
So 2.0 is a video game. Is that what it
yeah,
is?
yes, it is.
Like a real world video game, not like in the universe. You're talking about like it's an actual game on PlayStation or whatever.
Yes, Xbox and PC.
Okay.
And so that would be the reason why Cindy Morgan was not. Uh, she was not considered probably is because she's not Sam's mom.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll jump back to my discussion about themes here in a minute, but so this is leading into Tron Ares, which is presumably set a couple decades later, because of Dillinger's grandson being the villain, and it looks like Clue's plan is actually unfolding where the world of the grid is invading the other world because they're using the technology to create soldiers, and one of the soldiers is developing a morality and kind of rebels, is what I've gathered from the trailers.
Yeah, definitely.
We know that Flynn is in in the movie. Bruce Boxleitner has said he's not in the movie, but that even though he says it, that doesn't mean that Tron necessarily is not in the movie. It just means that Bruce Boxleitner is not playing Tron.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see, you know, is this gonna be good or is this gonna be a mess? The trailers look cool, but it's hard to tell if Disney is gonna Disney it up, So,
If I'm being completely honest, I think this might be like, for some reason, this just feels like a movie that Disney doesn't care about.
hopefully that's the best. Your best hope is that Disney
Yeah,
just ignored this movie altogether, and it just like X-Men
yeah,
'97. They didn't realize what they
yeah.
had until it came out, and then they're like, wait a second.
It's like there's no way that Bob Iger was like, we need Nine Inch Nails on this movie, which I will always defend the release of a new Tron movie because no matter what, we uh, we get a baller album. I like Tron Legacy. Reviews are mixed. His reviews mixed. No matter what, Daft Punk's Tron Legacy is one of the greatest albums of all time. And so getting a new Nine Inch Nails album for Aries, no, even if it sucks, we get a good Nine Inch Nails album.
So longtime listeners may know that we have a good friend Daniel who has kind of taught us to look for biblical themes in movies. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that with Tron Legacy. So I'm just going to point out some of the things that I notice is that you have a world that's created by a father who has a son and who has a um, if you think of Clue, like as his angel that fell from heaven that
Hmm.
was corrupted and has now corrupted the world. So you have your devil there. I thought of Tron like as a Adam type character, and that he has also been corrupted by sin, but at the end finds redemption. And there's a lot of imagery of glass apples and stuff, although that may just be Apple computers. Is what they're referencing. But I also thought of the Garden of Eden with the apples and whatnot. So just something that I noticed. You might be able to dig deeper in that, or maybe that's as deep as my ramblings go on that.
Well,
So
I mean, I so I'll be honest. You're definitely not the first person to notice these things. Um, I I'm almost on the point where I'm fairly certain that it's intentional. Because you got Flynn just looking like God, or what
mhm,
the generic imagery of God looks like. And then yeah, you've got Cora, who is kind of this uh not a perfect, or like humans aren't perfect, but it's definitely one of those things where one could think that clues I think there are parallels between Clue being Lucifer and kind of being prideful and jealous
mhm.
of humanity, and then you've Lucifer being prideful and jealous of humanity, and then Clue being prideful about the ISOs,
Right,
and so you've got Sam, who is the son of the creator, um, who
coming to Earth, coming, yeah,
yeah, and saves because eventually the whole point of it is to save Korra. The whole point of the film is saving Korra. Um,
yeah. The only part that gets flipped is in this scenario, God sacrifices himself instead of the Jesus character.
yeah, definitely.
But other than that, and then we know that he comes back the next movie, so you'll see the resurrection of him. So it's there. The themes are definitely there. So I don't know. Just thought I'd point that out as we wrap up our discussion. So, like I said, I like the first movie. The second movie, I've got to think about more. I do like the world of it,
Mhm,
though. I will eventually check out Tron Uprising when I have
mhm,
time.
mhm,
And I'm curious about Tron Ares. So,
mhm. Yeah, and longtime listeners will know, but just for anyone who's listening, whenever I talk about him being an old man, not liking new things, that's kind of our dynamic. It's all jokes. Like
yeah,
the
Caleb's
whole,
my nephew. There's
yeah.
about a 20-year gap between us. So, yeah.
But another thing I know. So you mentioned the Apple. And you're like, oh, that might just be a reference to Apple computers. Uh,
Well, I
I
mean,
almost,
Flynn is basically Steve Jobs.
yeah,
Is at
yeah,
least in the second one, not so much the first
yeah,
one, but the second one, he is definitely being
yeah.
based on Steve Jobs.
I almost, I almost, it's not that I resisted or anything, uh, but uh, the idea that we have of Steve Jobs, like this guy with the turtleneck and the jeans with doing the nerd conventions, uh, and like Apple being this huge company, um, that really only was a thing for probably 2009, 2010, 2011.
Yeah, that's very
So
much the last phases of his life. He had a
yeah,
much different earlier
yeah.
wild hippie lifestyle and stuff. So yeah,
So, I definitely think that you could see that there's a connection between those, but Tron Legacy had also like been in development for a little bit, had been written for a little bit. So part of me is like, I'm more thinking it's the apple from the Garden of Eden rather than computer Apple.
Maybe both. And
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Bridges definitely based his performance off of Steve Jobs.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and in addition, like I'll be honest, Tron 2.0 is one of those games that is kind of hard to play now because it's I don't think it's on I don't think it's on Steam. So PC's kind of out at this point. And then I think it was only on Xbox. But I would definitely encourage you and the viewers to kind of compare and contrast Legacy and Tron 2.0. Just because it's interesting, and Tron 2.0 I think came out like 6 years before Legacy. So it's interesting. And you know what? At that point, you might even like Tron 2.0 more than Legacy. So you got a Tron sequel that it is what you were looking for. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
um
definitely. Sounds
uh
a little bit like the Ghostbusters game that came out, where people are like, "Oh, I like that as my Ghostbusters 4 instead of what we actually got for."
it reminds me, now that you mention that,
Or
reminds me so much of that. Absolutely.
yeah, or Ghostbusters 3 or whatever. Um, all right, so that's our discussion on Tron. Please let us know in the comments what you think about the Tron movies. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Caleb? Are you somewhere in the middle? And what do you think about Tron Ares coming out? Also, hit that like button. It helps us grow our audience. Next week, we'll be discussing Alien Earth, the
Mhm.
FX series, which will be interesting because I don't like jump scares. So we'll
Mhm.
see what it's like. And I've heard mixed things about this show. So we'll see
Oh,
where we land.
before we sign up, so you haven't have you watched any of it yet?
I have not.
Oh man, Cameron and I were watching it as it came out. Uh, Honestly, I may we may want to get Cameron in on this too because
Okay.
but he's the biggest Alien fan out of all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Awesome. So
yeah,
that'll be next week, and we should be back to our normal time next week. So
yep.
until then, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you next time in the deep end.
See ya.